Jesus Christ teaches the way back to our eternal home. He understands our Heavenly Father's plan of eternal progression better than any of us. After all, He is the keystone of it all.
Travis Wayne Goodsell. So after I had just uploaded the previous video about how Mormons create their own Mormonism, their own personal Jesus in Mormonism, wouldn't you know it, I must be inspired. A Mormon, Pennock, had made a comment, and he was trying to be nice and pleasant, but in so doing, he was abusive and very rude, disrespectful, because he's under the impression that all of Christianity with Mormonism gets along just fine, and because they all believe in Jesus, they'll all be saved. So I'm the bad guy talking negative about the church. Oh, first of all, Christians don't like Mormons. So any Mormon who thinks that all of Christianity gets along with Mormons, I think you better consult your spiritual witness again. You were misinformed. But again, I mean, seriously, he created his own version of Mormonism to justify what he does with his life and how he thinks his life should be, and imposes it on me and bullies me to conform and comply to his view, or I'm the one disrespectful. Doctrine and Covenants, section 18, verse 20. Contend against no church, save it be the church of the devil. What is the church of the devil? Is it the temple of Satan? I understand they were able to get a club into a kindergarten. Yeah, I can't remember which state it was. I saw the news story just either earlier this week or in last week. Well, I guess it's a new week now, isn't it? But regardless, not too long ago. I thought that was hilarious. And I emailed the news story to a person I email on a regular basis and shared that humorous news story with them. So I remember it. But, I mean, seriously, what is the Church of the Devil? It's the great and abominable church that is described in the Book of Mormon. And it has, as its doctrines, the doctrines of Lucifer. And so you should expect to find a keystone with the inverted pentagram to know it's the Church of Satan. Right? Because certainly the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints does not have on the keystone of the doors of the Salt Lake Temple the inverted pentagram of Lucifer. Right? How many Mormons don't know this? I didn't know it. I didn't grow up in Utah. I didn't find out about it until looking at the wedding pictures. Karen and I were sealed in the Salt Lake Temple, room number 13. We had our pictures taken at the typical door, and the Relief Society president told us while we were still getting pictures taken by Karen's friend also, who also made sure to get the whole door in, and said that she got the whole door in because other people don't get the whole door in. She made sure to get the whole door in for us. So yeah, when looking back at our wedding photos that we got from both of them, there it was. And I'm like, oh crap, wow, okay, that changes my paradigm. Because if you just saw the previous video, I'm talking about how I'm still in 2017, still debating how Jesus fits into Joseph's church. because I can't find out answers with that dangling participle stuck to my thinking process. And so it was not until I realized, cut off Jesus. Oh, there it is. All new world. There's a theme song in the description below. Yeah, I really like the live version with that singing performance by Jasmine. That got me. That caused me to burst into tears when, she did good. And so, yeah, the Book of Mormon goes into explicit detail, graphic detail, so not a single person who actually studies can be confused as to what church the Great and Abominable Church is. And, since Nelson brought it up, there are saved 2 churches only. Really? I thought there were thousands. First Nephi chapter 14. Nephi is having his vision of the latter days. And he says, behold, the angel is speaking to him in the vision. Behold, there are 2 churches only. The one is the church of the Lamb of God. I refer you to Revelation chapter 19 as to which church that is. Because that's the 8 April 2024 church that restores Joseph Smith's church. The other is the church of the devil, the great and abominable church. And so which church does Joseph Smith call abominable, such that it would be the great and abominable church's Christ? Give you a hint, Joseph Smith History, verse 19. Yep. Any church that's named the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And wouldn't you know it, Joseph Smith even reveals it to us. And Willard Richards tries to cover it up by putting in the name Jesus Christ in the title of the church. Caught red-handed in the Joseph Smith papers. So yes, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the great and abominable church founded by the devil. And the Church of the Lamb is the true Mormon Christ. And if you're confused, I refer you to verse 40 of the Joseph Smith History in connection with section 103 of the Doctrine and Covenants, verse 16, so that there's no confusion. And yes, you have to go to Deuteronomy from Acts. Joseph Smith puts you on a scripture chain link. Or you can skip it and go to the footnotes below and go, oh, there's a Deuteronomy thing. I wonder what that is. Go to that one and skip Acts. But then you won't know, well, you don't know anyway because you don't know Greek. It's all Greek to you. That the original Greek is what Joseph Smith is referring to and doesn't refer to it. He says cut off instead of utterly destroyed from the original Greek. In our King James Version, it's just destroyed rather than utterly destroyed. But if you see the context before and after Joseph says that, you'll see utterly wasted for the addition in Malachi, and then you'll see that he's going to be destroyed if he shows the plates to anybody. Hilarious how he set that up. And so yes, it's that simple. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, with their loyalty oaths in the temple endowment that Brigham Young established. And no, Joseph Smith did not authorize him to do that, contrary to his position as a 12. He was supposed to go around preaching the Book of Mormon. That's it, that's all. Joseph did not give him an extra assignment to skip his mission and write an endowment ceremony. God, you guys are so easily gullible. Or you're like Danites, who love to just cause controversy by lying. Just like a MAGA, QAnon. And so, there's this prophecy by Albert Pike, a Scottish Rites Grand Master, who sent a letter to Giuseppe Mazzini. Now, I had teased this in a previous video, of which a viewer sent a comment in another video I did, asking if I would do a video covering Albert Pike. I am inspired, and I already had it on my list to get to, and I'm finally getting to it now. And so here we go. Albert Pike's letter to Giuseppe Mazzini, dated 15th of August, 1871. Now, some people like to claim that it may not be real, that it was faked, because he says for the Second World War, this war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed, and that the political Zionism must be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine. And so he thinks that Nazism did not exist until the advent of World War II. This is not correct. He's not talking about Nazis as a political party. The word Nazi comes from the German word for shepherds, I think it is, sheep herders. The common folk, laborers, is what I remember. We can look it up again, assuming I can find it again, if it is Google search definition that I find. I have to wait to make sure that I can search, because if they don't pop it up, I ain't gonna search. It's just gonna buffer me for all eternity until it collapses the internet system. And it looks, there it goes. God. Let's see. Yeah, it's bringing up Nazi Party. Nazi is short for its German name, but what's the German name? Nazi Socialist German Workers' Party. No, it's not. Come on. This is taking me far too long, guys. here's something closer. Nazism is a political ideology rooted in the 19th century, which means 1800s, German racialist movement, emerging in the context of Germany's ... This is what Albert Pike is referring to as this ideology movement. Nathaniel Kunkeler is the author of it. Emerging in the context of Germany's defeat in World War I. That's the 20th century, not the 19th century. The counter-revolutionary movement and the rise of fascism in Europe. So, yes, speak more on the racialist movement, the Völkisch Socialist. Yeah, they're saying it's an acronym for National Socialist, taking the NA and the ZI, putting it together. But he's not going into the 19th century. He's only going into the early 20th century. Wait a minute. Ian Kershaw, Hitler, 1889, 1936. Hubris. That's for one. Okay, wait a minute. The Bavarian Party ended up under Adolf Hitler, who would come to define it under his dictatorial leadership. Okay. No. Yeah, that's the closest I can find now. So I hope it's in my files somewhere. But it was an ideology rooted in the 19th century German racialist movement for the peasant workers. That's the closest I can find for it right now. Didn't look for it in advance of the video. Sorry. And so, nonetheless, the Third World War obviously was before, and so we get to test to see if this is going to happen. And yes, we're finding out it is. And this is what we're focused on. It's because he says, the Third World War. Now he's a Scottish Rites, not York Rites, Freemason. Big difference. Watching Dan Brown's Lost Symbol, the TV series on Panasonic. What is it called? It's CBS, but they don't call it CBS anymore. I don't know why. But regardless, Dan Brown has always considered the Freemasons pretty much the same, combining both the York and the Scottish Rites together into one. No. Bad, Dan Brown. Bad. And so, there's a big difference prior to 9/11/1826. And I've been going over this with you with church history. Because Joseph Smith Sr. was a York Rites Master Mason. They have, instead of the 33-degree honorary rank in the Scottish Rites, they have the Knights Templar, the bloodline of the Christ, but not Jesus. And it was the Pope who accused them of worshiping the gods of Egypt from the Egyptian gold plates that they had, that they weren't reading the Bible and following the orders of the Pope as the leader of Christ's church. And so Friday the 13th occurred. And the story goes that they fled, and there were a group that came to America in 1363, bought the land of the eastern United States, where X will mark the spot, completing on 8 April 2024. And if you're unfamiliar with that, you are definitely not watching my channel. It's the solar eclipses. And it's the place where the Jewish Christ, the mortal human Christ, is supposed to establish the mountain cities of Zion, restoring King David's kingdom, and thus the great secret, because they don't want the enemy finding out and setting it up for failure. Oops. Too late. They already know. How do I know they know? You ever seen the Confederate flag? Isn't that interesting? They've got a cross. It's the cross of Jesus, right? Oh, wait. It's solar eclipses. They cross in southern Illinois, with inverted pentagrams on each bar. Oops. They knew, and they had conquered. And so I think I've revived it, because I'm thinking that any person who did know of the secret of the Knights Templar bloodline has died. Because I'm not knowing anybody who's standing up and going, hey, we understand you know. So instead, I'm getting attacked by the enemy, and in the exact same manner that they attacked Joseph Smith. And so he confirms that he's from the Illuminati. You know, the people with Lucifer, the inverted pentagram of Brigham Young. The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agenda of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam and political Zionism mutually destroy each other. So, yes, they're picking up the pace, pecani sauce, getting the rope. Talking about nukes. And yes, Netanyahu turns out to be a fascist after all. Isn't that interesting? You'd think they would have learned from Nazi Germany's World War II not to be fascist. Nope. And so now it's up to the Israeli people to rise up against the government. Netanyahu, by the way, is a known criminal. Should have been convicted, but he won re-election. So he got to save his wife too. Yeah, they got caught busted for crimes and are able to get away with it. Isn't that great? And he's friends with Jared. Oh, dear God. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. Yep, social media is the big cause of this. And they thought they were just taking your information. Nope. They're using that information against you to make you zombie creatures and thus be guilty of the most horrible offenses. and it's both liberals and Democrats. The division of the dichotomous parties, as we're also seeing from Europe, is the brainchild of Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon also got exposed as being a part of the secret conspirator group in America that was seeking to overthrow America. The Little Black Book, of which I had found after I was banned on YouTube and had me risk getting completely banned from YouTube because of the threats that the employee was making to me and falsely accusing me to ban me from uploading videos. I was able to upload videos, but in a probationary period right before conference, and this was the video that I had done, is this Little Black Book that I had found. And guess who's a member of the Little Black Book? Yeah, Mr. Space Doctrine himself, Cleon Skousen, was an honorary member. One of his sons had replaced him on the committee as a member. Yep, there is the Mormon Inn. And, so Naked Communist has a whole new meaning for you now, doesn't it? Cleon Skousen did the Naked Communist. That was the name of his book. And so, yeah, I read through his 1,000-year books, and even as a teenager, I'm going, this is crap. He's plagiarizing. This isn't original work. Dear God. What a joke. And so, I've since gone on to do a better version as an anthropologist rather than a biased Mormon who plagiarizes. And yes, I also found those in groups that Oaks has direct association with. So the church has been involved in the overthrow of America, as I was starting to find out. And I've come to confirm that and establish that as fact, as they want their kingdom of Deseret back with the doctrines of Lucifer. And wait till we get going. Okay, then, everywhere, the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries. And that's what it is. Our social arguments are caused by a minority of people who are able to influence the majority. Will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitude disillusioned with Christianity. What? Where did Christianity come from? What's going on? You see, this is what their plot was. To purposely make every Christian believe this is the latter days. Well, how? Well, John in Revelation chapter 12 reveals a star date. And everybody in the world knew it. China even made t-shirts. I bought one of those t-shirts. I'd already previously found that date. And that's my number one video. July 2017. Still stuck at 39,000. I know there's more of you that haven't seen it. Can't you just put it over 40,000? But, yeah, it's very primitive compared to what I do now, but still. I found the date. And so you've got all these Christians. And what are we seeing with Christianity and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? The religious freedom movement. There's even a religious freedom caucus in the House. And they're causing some problems lately. And guess who happens to be on that caucus from Utah who's having financial problems, and so he ran for government office to eliminate his financial problems. And so we've learned from the church that their religious freedom movement is to overthrow the government by being exempt from following the law. And so the Respect for Marriage Act, the church got it passed. It wasn't going to pass. The church got it passed because the church had an amendment put in for the exemption so that religions can be exempt from following the laws. And it was a trap, and the government fell for it because there are enough senators now that said, oh, okay, fine, if religions don't need to follow it, and they're also thinking religious people don't need to follow it, and the Supreme Court is still hesitating on this. They're in their decision-making process on these, and they're holding it back. They're waiting to drop the bomb. Drop the bomb on me, baby. Whole new world order. And so, what do you think is going to happen? Christians believe that Armageddon is going to happen. Jesus is going to stop it. And then all the world will know that Christians were right, and they'll have to be converted to Christianity. The Jews will be converted to Christianity because Jesus will appear to them and say, I am he who was wounded in the house of my friends. Except Joseph Smith changes that. Doesn't he? Yep. A whole new religion. It's not the Jews. It's Mormons. But that has to do with prophecy. And so Jesus isn't going to come. He knows this. Everybody knows this. Because they know that Constantine created Christianity. 325 CE. Jesus Christ is a fraud. Always has been. For 1700 years. And yet, over 1 billion are Christian followers. But you have to break it down into over 1,000 different organizations. Plus those who believe you don't need an organization to worship Jesus. And so, that's how Christianity is going to be disillusioned. This bloody turmoil of the most savage horror is Armageddon, World War III. But no Jesus to save anybody. And so Christians will be disillusioned. This was the latter days, this is the second coming, and there was no second coming. Whose deistic spirits will, from that moment, be without compass or direction. What do we do? What do we turn to? Where do we turn for peace? Joseph Smith. How do I know which one's right? Or are they all wrong altogether? Yeah, they're all wrong altogether, weren't they? Anxious for an ideal. And this is where fascism thrives. When liberalism fails the people are forced into the extreme dichotomous position of fascism. And we see this played out in our political elections. As Steve Bannon went to Europe after America's 2016 election and screwed it up in the European countries. but without knowing where to render its adoration. Jesus isn't true, so who do we worship now? Well, here comes Lucifer, right down Lucifer's lane, right down the covenant path. Will receive the true light of the light bearer through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, with the inverted pentagram on the keystone of the Salt Lake Temple, which means that the pure doctrine of Lucifer is taught within those walls, behind that door. And it's the covenant path. It's the loyalty oaths of secrecy. Don't tell anybody that we're going to overthrow the government. Brought finally out into public view. And when does the church plan on having the rededication ceremony? The conference weekend before the last solar eclipse that crosses over America. X marks the spot. Having destroyed, because they don't even believe in the Jewish Christ. Because Zionists and the Islamic world, they're going to mutually destroy each other. And so they don't believe that the Jews and their scriptures, they're the ones with the prophecy. But Christians culturally appropriated the Jewish prophecies, turned them into literal history. And so now it's a second coming instead of the prophecy of the Christ of the Jews, who is a mortal human being. These guys don't believe that's even possible, because the Book of Mormon tells us they're antichrists. They don't believe that a human could be prophesied to come in the future. And so they're going to push Lucifer. And Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon go into great detail of the doctrine of Lucifer. So that dumbass Mormon who is in a fantasy world thinking that all of Christianity can be saved together, doesn't matter what religion you're a part of, we all get along and we're all going to be saved. Oh dear God, and I'm the villain. I'm following Lucifer's plan of happiness. Really? Me, huh? Yeah, good luck with that. This manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement, which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. Now do you understand why the church is buying up land all around the world? For temples, right? Yeah, again, the church of the devil is all over the world. They're very filthy rich. They've got temples all over the world. But the Church of the Lamb is poor and are few in numbers, but are within the great and abominable church. Because section 103 verse 16 says that a man like Moses, who is the Christ of Mormons, is a Mormon, will bring Mormons out of bondage from the great and abominable church. Those are the only two churches. Christianity, it fell a long time ago with the collapse of Constantine's church. They're just in denial. See, Daniel had a vision, or Daniel interpreted the vision of Nebuchadnezzar's dream about a statue of the gold, iron, silver, brass, whatever. The feet were made of iron and clay. Iron is the Roman period. The clay is Constantine's Christianity. And it shattered. And it has shattered. the fulfillment of that dream came to pass. And so Christianity doesn't really exist. It's just a group of over 1 billion people. We can get the exact number. I do remember seeing that number in Google search. I mean, how do I get through to people who are not following me that the church has been trying to assassinate me because they know who I am? How? I don't get it. How many Christians in the world? 2.2 billion believers. Over. So there you go. And like I said, they're all fractured. They believe in a different Christ. But they call him Jesus, and so they're all considered Christian. Just like Mormons. And so yes, he's talking about the destruction of Christianity by bringing about the prophecies of Armageddon. They're literally going to cause Armageddon. They're going to cause climate change with the natural disasters. They're going to cause the pollutions of the earth, the air, the water. They're going to purposely cause the division in our politics, because that's the art of war, divide and conquer. They're purposely going to put in a president who's going to be abominable, who will be in the minority, but nonetheless will cause destruction and violence and a coup d'etat. And it failed. And the Book of Mormon knew it would fail. Isn't that interesting? And so yes, now Congress, the House, is holding America hostage. They're holding it for ransom. They're not raising the debt ceiling. We're on the verge of an economic collapse at any moment. They said they were going to purposely tank the economy before the election. And here they are. There are other problems that are going on. But they're hesitating. Isn't that interesting? Everybody's holding off, waiting for something, waiting for some kind of trigger. And interestingly, it's the bicentennial year of the day that shall burn as an oven. From Second Vision of Joseph Smith. Warning us. Isn't that interesting? So, have fun, because you definitely don't believe any of this. I'm just the bad guy. I'm Lucifer's soldier. I'm a knight in Satan's service. I could have used one of their songs. And they are purposely teasing everybody. They will not say what KISS stands for. It's their fans that have made that connection. I was made for loving you, baby. You were made for loving me. Whole new world order. Okay. But yeah, Albert Pike is prophesying of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints ruling the world in the millennium. And like I said, the church history behind Brigham Young and his coup of Joseph Smith's church and his origins from the Illuminati are how I made the connection here. And if you're not going to watch, you're not going to believe. And then you're going to put hateful comments and ignorant comments and threaten me to be silent when you're trying to pretend to be nice. Right, I'm the bad guy. bleep you.